Now that we know how to factor quadratics and solve quadratic equations, we can use it to apply to word problems. So let's take this word problem for example. It says that the length of a rectangle is 3 yards more than double the width, and the area of the rectangle is 35 square yards. And they ask us to find the dimensions of a rectangle. So it's always useful to draw out our figure. So here we have our rectangle, and we know it has a length, and we know it has a width. And if you remember, the formula for the area of a rectangle is our length times our width. Now, the problem gives us certain pieces of information. It tells us that the length is, so is means equals, right? So our length equals, and it's 3 more yards than double the width. So if I double the width, which is 2 times W, that's twice the width, and it's 3 more yards than that, we add 3 to it. Okay, so now we know our length is 2W plus 3, and our width is W, and we know that our area is your length times your width, so let's write out that our area equals our length, which is now 2W plus 3, that's our whole length, right, times our width. And the other thing that we know about our area is that we said it was 35 square yards, right? So that whole thing equals 35. So now, if I work with this side of it, I can start making it so that it looks like a quadratic equation equal to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute out this W. So I get 2W squared plus 3W equals 35. And I'm going to move it so I have 2W squared plus 3W minus 35 equals 0. So now this looks like an equation that we're ready to use, right? This is like everything else that we've been working with to solve. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, clear. Oops. Okay, so now this is the quadratic we're looking for. And this, remember, we're going to factor this side of it. So we're going to look for factors of 70. Factors of, negative 70. And they have to add up to positive 3. And again, since we know it's negative, we know that one's positive and one factor is negative. And the larger one needs to be positive because our 3 here is a positive, right? So 7 and 10 are factors of 70, and if I take negative 7 times 10, I get negative 70, and of course negative 7 plus 10 adds up to be 3. So I'm going to rewrite my quadratic as 2W squared minus 7W plus 10W minus 35 equals 0. So remember, this is the AC method, and now I'm going to group. So I group my first 2 terms, I group my second 2 terms, I pull out a W, and I'm left with 2W minus 7 plus, and I can pull out a 5 from this group, and I get a 2W minus 7. That equals 0. So now my factored form of my quadratic is W plus 5, 2W minus 7 equals 0. Okay. Remember now, once we have it in this factored form, we have 2 sets of equations. So in order to make this true, we either have W plus 5 equals 0, or we have 2W minus 7 equals 0. So if this is the case, W equals negative 5, and this one, W equals 7 halves, or 3.5, right? Well, let's think about this. We're asking for a width of our rectangle, right? We have our rectangle, and we have a length and a width. You can't have a negative number. So this this answer doesn't make any sense. So then the other answer, where W is 7/2 yards, that one is the one that makes sense. And from that we can figure out what our area is going to be. So since we know our area was 35, right? Area was 35, and that equals our length times our W. Now we know what our W is which is 7/2. We can substitute that in, so we have 35 equals 7/2 times L. So now we can figure out L. So our L equals, if I multiply both sides by the reciprocal, I get 35 times 2/7. Right? So that way I can get rid of, multiply this by 2/7 and multiply this side by 2/7. So that equals 70/7, which equals 10. So now my answer is, my width equals 3.5, or 3.5 yards, and my length equals 10 yards. And that's my final answer.